we've got some major breaking news to share. And while it's no surprise that corruption runs deep inside the Trump administration, we've known that all along. What makes this story so incredible is who it's about. Later in this video, we'll be talking about one of the most notorious figures in Trump's inner circle. Someone who has been a driving force in pushing his agenda and now faces serious exposure thanks to new reporting. According to NBC, the FBI has been caught in a criminal cover-up related to bribery. And the fallout could devastate not just this individual's career, but also ripple throughout the administration. We're going to break it all down. But before we dive into the details, if you could take a quick moment to like this video, and if you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It really helps support the channel and allows us to keep bringing you these updates. Now, before I reveal which Trump ally has just been caught up in this latest scandal, let's start with how Governor Gavin Newsom recently called him out.
Marked cars, people en masse, people quite literally disappearing, no due process, no rights in a democracy where we have rights. Immigrants have rights, and we have the right to stand up and push back, and that's what we're doing here today. This is a disgrace. This is an outrage, what we have allowed to happen in this country. And I could not be more proud of this legislature, the legislative authors, to the community demanding more from all of us at this moment to push back. I'll be signing a bill, the first in the nation, saying enough. To ICE, unmask. What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of?
This administration is filled with officials who have treated immigrants, people who come to this country, love this country, and help build it, as if they are less than human. They strip away dignity, they deny basic humanity, and they deliberately create an us versus them environment. That is the climate fostered under Donald Trump's leadership, one built on fear, anger, and division. And one figure who stands out in particular is Tom Homan, Trump's former border chief. He has been one of the strongest enforcers of Trump's harsh immigration policies, presenting himself as a tough, no-nonsense figure on outlets like Fox News. But the reality is that his approach has made the administration's immigration agenda deeply unpopular, and when actually confronted with real opposition, he often struggles to hold up. A great example of this was when he was directly challenged by Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and it didn't go his way.
What we are seeing is a pattern where ICE is breaking the law. We have the detention of a U.S. citizen who has been detained by immigration officials. We have ICE here that has also blamed and arrested U.S. citizens for being simply suspected of being an immigrant, largely because of their appearance. In January, a Chicago-based U.S.-born citizen, Julio Noriega, was arrested by ICE and held in custody for over 10 hours. In April, a Florida Highway Patrol officer pulled over Juan Carlos Lopez Gomez, a United States-born citizen, and arrested him on suspicion of being in the country illegally. He had his real ID, his social security card, his mother presented his birth certificate, and they still didn't let him go. In May, U.S. citizen Leonardo Garcia Venegas was filming an ICE raid. He was arrested by ICE. In May, a veteran and U.S. citizen who is Puerto Rican, was detained during an ICE raid at his workplace in New York City. That's called a paper bag test. And your job, Governor Hochul, is to protect people from that kind of infringement, correct?
Yes.
Because all of us must adhere to the law, and no one is above it. So if a U.S. citizen tries to break the law, or if an ICE officer tries to break the law, your job is to uphold the law, correct?
We absolutely uphold the laws of the United States Constitution and the Constitution of the State of New York.
And sanctuary states are about U.S. citizens as well, having sanctuary against the attacks on our constitutional rights from illegal search and seizure. There is nothing preventing ICE from issuing a warrant and you having complete compliance with their request. Correct, Governor Hochul?
We comply in cases where there's been criminal activity alleged. Yes, we always do. But we're not involved in civil immigration enforcement because our state police that I control have to deal with other crimes that they're solving.
And apologies, I just have 10 seconds left. But when they say illegal versus legal immigration, they are trying to end legal status in the United States as well. Correct, Governor Pritzker, with the end of TPS and making people undocumented by removing legal status, ending legal status, and then having the audacity to call them illegal when they were here documented, correct?
Taking students' visas away from people, taking their legal right to be in the United States away from them when they've been granted maybe years earlier to stay.
So I don't want to hear about how this is about illegal versus legal immigration. They are attacking legal status and removing legal status. The Republican majority is anti-legal immigration in the United States. And I want to make that very clear, and I yield back.
Chair now recognizes Mr. Chair.
So, we know Tom Homan. He's a faith tough guy. We know this administration wants to carry out the most disgusting, immoral, and illegal mass deportation plan in American history. And we know it's failed. It fundamentally has just failed. But what we didn't know is that they weren't just covering for Tom Homan bad policy and his marble-mouthed poor communication. No, they were also covering Tom H. Mon's criminality. In a new report from NBC News exposing what was covered up in this administration and spelling the end of Tom Homan's career. Tom Homan was investigated for accepting $50,000 from undercover FBI agents. Trump DOJ shut it down. The FBI and justice officials closed the investigation, which a Justice Department appointee had called a deep state probe in early 2025. In an undercover operation last year, the FBI recorded Tom H. Homan, now the White House border, accepting $50,000 in cash after indicating he could help the agents who were posing as business executives win government contracts in a second Trump administration. According to multiple people familiar with the probe and internal documents reviewed by MSNBC, the FBI and the Justice Department planned to wait to see whether Homan would deliver on his alleged promise once he became the nation's top immigration official. But the case indefinitely stalled soon after Donald Trump became president again in January, according to 6 sources familiar with the matter in recent weeks. Trump appointees officially closed the investigation after FBI Director Kash Patel requested a status update on the case. 2 people said it's unclear what reasons FBI and Justice Department officials gave for shutting down the investigation, but a Trump Justice Department appointee called the case a deep state probe in early 2025, and no further investigative steps were taken. On September 20th, 2024, with hidden cameras recording the scene at a meeting spot in Texas, Homan accepted $50,000 in bills. According to an internal summary of the case sources, the federal investigation was launched in western Texas in the summer of 2024 after a subject in a separate investigation claimed Homan was soliciting payments in exchange for awarding contracts should Trump win the presidential election. According to an internal Justice Department summary of the probe reviewed by MSNBC and people familiar with the case, the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Western District of Texas, working with the FBI, asked the Justice Department's Public Integrity Section to join its ongoing probe into the border's R and former Acting Director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Tom Homan, and others based on evidence of payment from FBI undercover agents in exchange for facilitating future contracts related to border enforcement. At the end of the day, it always comes back to one thing with this administration: the grift. For them, it's always about money, power, and control. Yes, They take pride in targeting immigrants, breaking up communities and punishing people they see as political opponents. That cruelty is not a side effect, it's the point. And officials like Tom Homan, who has been at the center of Trump's immigration agenda, are a clear example of how far they will go. Recently, reports surfaced suggesting that Homan was caught in a blatant corruption scandal involving tens of thousands of dollars in cash. It's a shocking story, though sadly not surprising given what we've seen from Trump's inner circle. And this isn't just about one person. It's about a larger agenda that has used fear, intimidation, and lawless tactics to carry out an immigration plan rooted in cruelty rather than compassion. That's why voices like Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez have been so important. From day one, she has spoken out against this administration's immigration policies, warning us of exactly what they would look like if left unchecked. Unfortunately, too many Democrats have sometimes gone along with watered-down conservative proposals like the Lake and Riley Act instead of standing firmly against them. That was a mistake. Giving Trump and his allies that permission structure only allowed them to double down on their agenda. Here's the lesson. When Democrats are bold, when they communicate clearly why our policies work and why the Republican agenda is harmful, we can make their talking points deeply unpopular. That's already happening with Trump's immigration agenda. It is underwater in public opinion, and that's proof we can fight back and win. But we have to stop running scared when the polling doesn't immediately look favorable. Trump's policies are unpopular. His immigration agenda is cruel. And people like Tom Homan, who have pushed this agenda and now face accusations of corruption, should be called out for what they are. Democrats should not let conservatives set the terms of debate. We need to put forward real solutions, structural changes that fix broken systems and show people why those solutions make their lives better. That's what this show is about, telling the truth, calling out corruption, and refusing to let authoritarian voices rewrite the narrative. If you support that work, make sure to hit the subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around until the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Together, we'll keep fighting, keep exposing the truth, and keep pushing for real change. And until next time, I will see you soon.